Please be seated. Dean Almeida, Director Bieto, Registrar of Peers, distinguished guests, members of the faculty, members of the 2015 class, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 2015 commencement exercises for Georgetown ASADE Global Executive Masters of Business Administration. I am Lonnie Smith, Senior Assistant Dean for Executive Degree Programs at the McDonough School of Business, and I'm honored this morning to participate in the ceremony. We will begin our ceremony with the invocation delivered by Father Ron Anton of the Society of Jesus. Following the invocation, Professor Janine Turner will read the Georgetown University Charter. Please stand for the invocation.
Good and gracious God, we gather this afternoon at the GEMBA 7 graduation ceremony with faculty, family, and friends, mindful that we do so in your presence and with your spirit among us. God of all creation, you call on all humankind to be co-creators with you and to participate by our labor in your work of making a world of justice and love. Help us to realize that by our own creativity, we share in your eternal creative act. God of all wisdom, guide us by your divine wisdom. Do not allow us to be misled by ignorance or avarice, to abandon truth for the sake of advancement or ambition, or be corrupted by fear or failure. God of all love, help us to know your love, to make it our own, to live it in our lives, so that our innovations, ideas, and institutions may contribute to your kingdom of grace and care. To you be honor and glory, now and forever. Amen.
Although the university's founding date is 1789, it was 200 years ago on March 1st, 1815, that the President of the United States, James Madison, approved the federal charter for the College of Georgetown within the District of Columbia. Introduced into Congress by our first student, William Gaston, this spring on March 1st, 2015, the President of the United States, Barack Obama, sent greetings to Georgetown on the occasion of the bicentennial of that charter. Among other things, he said, simply put, this country and this world benefit from your commitment to Jesuit values, to being men and women for others. It is our venerable custom to begin academic ceremonies with a reading of that charter. It reads as follows. Be it enacted by the Senate and the House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled, that it shall and may be lawful for such persons as now or from time to time may be the President and Directors of the College of Georgetown within the District of Columbia, to admit any of the students belonging to said college or other persons meriting academical honors to any degree in the faculties, arts, sciences, and liberal professions, to which persons are usually admitted in other colleges or universities of the United States, and to issue in an appropriate form the diplomas or certificates which may be requisite to testify to the admission of such degree. Signed, Langdon Cheeves, Speaker of the House of Representatives, John Gaillard, President pro tempore of the Senate, approved March 1st, 1815, James Madison.
It is now my pleasure to introduce our student speaker, Daniel Villanueva.
Dean Almeida, Director Vieto, Registrar Peers, dear Pedro and rest of the members of the faculty, staff from Esarea and Georgetown, beloved friends and family, on behalf of the whole 2015 cohort of GEMBA, also known as GEMBA 7, I would like to express our most sincere gratitude to all of you for making this program possible. I was really honored when you gave me the option of having this speech today, till I realized that in this module there was not even a minute to prepare it. And all my happiness was gone yesterday night when I saw all you guys going to have drinks, and I was coming back to the hotel and realized I was the only one who has a paper due for today. So I'm going to put it in Moodle, just in case Professor Bush will accept it as paper for the capstone project. You never know. I guess that today is quite easy for me to be better than my slides. So hopefully it's going well. It's not easy. It's not easy for a foreigner to guess the tone and what does it mean graduation speech, because I have been asking the whole week, some of you, and you come out all the time with this typical answer of be yourself, speaks from your heart, that you never know what does it mean, or lift up the spirits of the crowd. And the best one was Ron Anton that said, you need to be profound and funny, you need to make us cry and laugh, and all in 5 minutes. So that's good. So at the end of the day, this is a huge challenge. So I decided to pick up some key performance indicators in order to know how to measure the impact of the speech. So my KPIs today are, first of all, is Mitsuru still awake? Okay, good. Is Sunil still focused? Okay. Are Handy and the doctor quiet? That's good. Is Amy still sitting in the chair? Good, very good. And the first one is, are Bini and Tanvir crying already? No, not yet. Okay. So I hope this will give me a sense of how this morning is evolving. So let me start giving a warm welcome to our families and friends. I think especially those of you who are coming from far away. Welcome to Georgetown, welcome to GEMBA. If you are still having any doubt where your husband or wife, your father or mother has been during the last year, let me tell you, it's true. We have been doing an MBA and all the traveling has been part of the program. So, seriously, I would like to start giving thanks to all of you, because it's only because of your passion, because of your support, because especially of your sacrifice that we have been able of making this program. We are really aware, and I think you have a sense of that yesterday night in the dinner, that we know the impact that this program has in our lives, in our families, and in our houses. So I want to seriously start today honoring your effort. Thank you very much. We love you all. Bibi, Stacy, Sue, Martin, Bill, Claire, Nandini, Leila, Michael, Susanna, Mafe, Carol, Sailini, and many other, you all should have a diploma today. Maybe, Martin, you maybe need also a monument here, but thank you very much. We were even having babies during the modules, okay? We were, thanks God it was a boy. We were afraid that Sunil was going to call her Gemba, So you have been an incredible part of our experience. I'm not sure if you realize that. How many times we have been seeing Chris' family through his broken iPhone. He is showing all the time the picture of the kids. Or how many times we have been saying hello to Amitabh's wife through Skype, even in the middle of the classes. You have been an amazing part of our program, and I think we need to recognize this just since the beginning. Probably you are tired of hearing about discount cash flow or matrix organizations, maybe Harley Davidson, Lego. That was fun. Roca in Egypt, Starbucks in China. Probably you are tired of all that. I'm sorry to tell you that Claudio Napoli was not real. It's just a name of a case. Even I heard that once Sue was telling Chuck, I don't want to talk anymore about the Google car. So I think you have been sharing with us many good insights, and you should have a diploma today with us. But let's move into the most serious part. I would like to tell you that when I entered in the Jesuits in 1996 in September, my grandmother was really sick. Actually, she died a week later. So I went to visit her before I entered in the novitiate. She was a great woman, raised a big family. With my mother, there are 10 siblings. You can imagine the huge family that she was raising. She was really profound and charismatic. So when I went to see her, she was in the emergency room. She knew she was going to die. And we have one of these amazing conversations that we only can have with the grandmothers. Okay. So she told me, Danny, we are both starting very different but equally amazing journeys. And realizing the density of that moment, with tears in my eyes, I asked him, Grandma, are you basically happy with your life? With what you have done? Do you think that you have changed the world with your life somehow? And she smiled to me and said, Danny, I'm not sure if I have changed the world, but I have launched onto it 10 very good torpedoes, talking about the 10 different daughters and sons. So I don't think we are in war with the world, okay? This is not the point. But I think that in a day as today, when we are somehow sent back to the world after a year of training, I like this intuition of being part of a wider history that today is on our shoulders. So I think we need to realize something as simple as this is our time. This is our moment. And there are many lives, many efforts, many expectations of how are we going to impact the world with the gifts that we have been given. Today we are finishing the most interesting and probably one of the hardest years in our lives. And don't get me wrong, our program will be finished, but our GEMBA experience is far from being over. This has been an expensive program that required a lot of investment from each one of us in all possible sense of the word. We finish, I think, better equipped for international endeavors, much more conscious of the ecosystem, of the global interconnectedness, really aware of the complexity of transnational strategies and full of ideas of how to structure, how to design new and hopefully successful international business models. But I hope this is not everything. I don't think, and yesterday you could taste a bit of it in the dinner, that anyone here is indifferent to what we have been living together during these months. Life-changing experience. I thought, Sarah Jane, that this was a marketing cliche you were using for marketing about GEMBA when I was starting to be interested, but you were right. Life-changing experience. This has been a life-changing experience. We have been sharing these months with a lot of conflicts. Let's be honest, a lot of tensions, many cultural misunderstandings, and also all this spiced by with a lot of long nights of work group under an insane pressure, and timely video conferences with all the corners in the world. You know what I'm talking about. But also, we have been experiencing passion, noble intentions, a lot of hope. Paul is not a strategy, but it's very interesting and very important to have hope. And a strong desire to learn, an incredible intellectual curiosity in all the group, looking for improving and bringing light to our life and our corporations. We have learned a lot about business, finance, marketing, leadership, strategy, but also and especially about coherence, loyalty, compassion, complicity, respect, diversity, deep borderless friendship. All these values are really full of new meanings for each one of us today. and not the net present value or the future value. These are the values that are really full of meaning for us today. So as a Jesuit, you can imagine how far from my comfort zone I have been during the last year. And I have to confess that I have never understood why the Jesuits have business schools till today. Well, when I look at you and I realize the strength of this group for doing good, the potential of the knowledge, of the experience, and of the learning that have been happening within us during GEMBA. The capacity that relies on this group to generate value, to enhance society, to improve procedures and dynamics that, listen to me, are out of reach for most of the people on Earth. I don't think, honestly, that we have learned here how to make money, but how to lead, how to communicate, how to understand markets, corporations, governments, international organizations, an environment where humanity can thrive or can get spoiled, where the future is on the make, and where our voices, our ideas, and our projects can have today much more impact than 1 year ago, thanks to GEMBA. The problems of our world are not going to be solved simply by market growth. We need new players, we need new leaders, we need new structures, new networks, able of bringing our institutions, private businesses, government, civil society together to serve the global interest of humanity. And who is going to do that but us? Are programs like this one the ones that rise us to new perspective and greater understandings of the global game that is here to stay? I'm not sure, like my grandmother, if Georgetown and ESADE are changing the world, but I can tell you that today they are sending out 32 torpedoes, top of the class, trying to shape a game that we want to play. And believe me, after these 14 months, I want to play your game, the long game, and I really believe this. So we all know that with knowledge and skills always comes responsibility. This degree that we are receiving today is a real privilege, but also comes with a strong duty that is somehow collective and shared among us. Just think about it. How many times in our lives we have had the chance of working with such a powerful group, with this mixture of leadership positions, cultures, human capital, skills, connection, experiences. This doesn't happen by chance. We have worked really hard to reach this point, and now the program is over and the future is open for us. As Professor Bush said, this is a point of departure. The warming up is over, guys, so now it's time for the meaningful actions. So now we are part of history, of the thousands of men and women that have been graduated before us in these universities for centuries. People sent into the world with the tools and frameworks to thrive, succeed, and transform. We are proud to be part of that line, but we have the G of GEMBA. That means that we have been trained to question our assumptions, to listen, to be aware, to sense the dynamic of reality, to adapt, to manage uncertainty, to embrace complexity, and to take the challenge. And these are skills that can be developed in isolation. We need of each other to play this game. And I hope we never forget that from now on, we are not alone. Let's leverage our relationships. Let's keep challenging each other, learning from our experience, and strengthen this network for good that we have created during this year. And let's challenge Georgetown and ESADE to also be part of this game. We are carriers of hope for many. Let's keep building on the strong foundation that we have fostered during this program and believe, beyond realisms and idealisms, that what we can do together can really make a difference. Thanks again, because with you, everything is possible. Congratulations, good luck, and God bless you all. Thank you.
As you all know and appreciate, part of the strength of any degree program is the academic content. It is now my pleasure to introduce the program's academic directors, Professor Paul Almeida, Professor Pedro Parada, and Professor Mark Bush. Professors Almeida, Parada, and Bush will present to you a few personal reflections about the class and its experiences over the last 14 months.
Last year, they described us as the Goodfellas. And they offered us a painting of the three of us together, and Paul and I loved it, and Pedro had no idea what it was about. And I asked them last year, is that really how you see us? And one GEMBA 7 student said, one GEMBA 6 student said, not really, but we can't really say how we think. And I asked, well, what do you really have in mind? And they said, bad cop, good cop, outrageously good cop. Megan has been asking me all week long for my comments that I was going to offer you today, and as is practice, I never offer her any comments because I actually think about what I'm going to say as I drive in the morning. And as I was driving this morning, kind of like Father Daniel, I was thinking about all the speeches that I've heard over the many, many years. And it is quite different to be a producer of these speeches than a consumer, because as a consumer you can tune out, but as a producer you have a whole bunch of eyes watching you. And in the spirit of brevity, the point that I thought I would share is that while we are telling you to go global, and thinking about a global economy in which you are going to play a bigger role, and a bigger role in many ways, as Father Daniel said, beyond just business. But I was thinking to myself, as I sit on those long flights to Singapore or to Geneva, I seldom think about myself as going to conquer foreign markets. I always ask myself two questions on the long-haul flights. It's kind of odd, but I always ask myself, how am I doing as a father? How am I doing as a husband? I don't know about you, but I always do these reality checks on myself. And at a time when I should be thinking about what am I going to do for a client on the offense in a given market called Australia, I end up asking myself, what is it all about? What is it that I'm doing now in terms of orienting myself at home? I think as we spend today with our families, think about that. Start at home. Go global, but start at home. Our families got us this far. They deserve an awful lot of appreciation. Thank you to all the families, and especially the children who had no idea what this was about. People always say, aren't you struck by how in every graduate ceremony there's always one child who screams? That's the child for whom this ceremony is about. That is exactly right. And this would be a mistaken opportunity were it not for that screaming child. Last word, congratulations on winning this day. Thank you.
So I'll try to speak slow this time, just to make sure. I would like to say three things today. One is congratulations, the second one is thanks, and the other one is a warning to you. But let me begin with the congratulations. First to the class, the GEMBA 7 class. We are really proud of you. This is a wonderful group. It is surprising how different you were when you came in, as it was pointed out before, but also to some extent how you still are different, and yet you have converged into a different type of individual or collective group where you have three things at least. One, I think you share now the three core values that really distinguish what ESAD and Georgetown represent in this competitive and complex environment, I would say globally. One is the idea that global, the international part. You come from different places, but it's different when you have to go through these places, suffer them, right, in terms of food and places and cultures and learnings and companies and organizations and all this complexity, and yet you see that through your eyes, but also through the eyes of your colleagues, and you discover that you can see things differently depending where you come from, and that's what really makes you better people, and that's very important. That really represents the nature. It's understanding, which is the first step in then managing to do a better future for you and the rest. That is one. The second one is diversity. As you say again, it's not only the international part, the diversity. Yesterday there were a few comments as well. It was very interesting in dinner about the religion. That was an interesting part, just to illustrate one. But we actually are so different in so many different levels, and yet you have to learn to recognize that we are different, so we will not be the same, and yet we respect and appreciate each other, and that's core, that's important. And those two ones actually take you to the next level, which is when you understand what international means and truly diversity means, is when you can really make a difference for the rest, and that's what is important. It's a commitment to society, to give back. And you have to give back not only to yourself and the people that are sitting on the back, which is your families, but also the people that surround. You have the power now of a very good education, but second, an experience, a life-changing experience, as was pointed out, and now you have the power to influence others, and that's the beauty of this program, okay? It's not only about the knowledge and the skills and the attitudes you develop, but also the power that you develop to make a difference on others. So I encourage you to always do that, and remember, that's at the core of Georgetown and ESADE, and this will be always the case. So that's on one side. But also, I will also congratulations, because we are proud of you. I have to say also that congratulations to the faculty, to my colleagues who are right here with us, because believe it or not, it's extremely difficult to deal with you all, by the way, I have to say. Okay? I can... And take it as a compliment, of course, right? Coming from me. But there's two things. One, because again, it's difficult to manage an international audience at this level, but also the diversity that you show, and the different interests and so on and so forth. And I think that was also pretty evident yesterday on the evening that we shared together. I also would like to thank them and congratulate, because the effort that they made over these years in adjusting, in understanding what the others do, and finding the connections and creating a rich learning experience is something that is of value. Again, we are just the ones who coordinate this with Mark and Paul, my dear colleagues and esteemed friends, but the faculty is the ones we have to thank for their support and engagement in this over these years. That is number one. There's two more. The second one is, I have to say, I would say, congratulations, but also thanks. And the thanks actually not go to you, because I already said that actually that was part of the deal. You had to do it and commit to the others. But thanks to the people who made this possible. That was already highlighted several times, which is your family, friends, relatives. That's so important again. And I would like to highlight that again, this experience wouldn't be the same without you. We thank you because again, you not only supported your significant others, but also you gave us the chance to really create this wonderful experience and create these 32 torpedoes, as that was mentioned by Father Villanueva. I really like it, no? The power to do that. And finally, the warning is this is not over, of course. Because this is the GEMBA family. You actually had the chance while you travel around the world to meet some of the previous, your predecessors, other people, and so on and so forth. The idea is this is a growing community. Imagine we continue growing, connecting and connecting. And one thing is for sure, which is at some stage, one of us will call you back and we'll say, and by the way, we'll call you back to bring you back to classes or help for ideas or support or new developments, new locations, you know. So basically to get your inputs and ideas about how can we make this even a better program. Okay, as you know, we always, every single year, we try to change something in the program. We have changes this year, as you know. We are planning again next year. One thing I can tell you for sure is that next year edition will not be the same as this year, because we continue to have to challenge ourselves and yourselves to do this better. So, expect for the call, and we hope to see you soon again.
Since neither Mark or Pedro stuck to the script, I figure I'm free to do whatever I like. By the way, Mark, Pedro, and I had a short conference, and we've decided to give Danny an A for his paper that he did last night. So, thank you. While standing behind Pedro and Mark, I decided, let me just share a story from my childhood, actually. And I was the fifth of 7 children, as you know, and my father was a naval officer, and every 2 years, literally 2 years, we got moved. And the one constancy in my life was we were always sent to Jesuit schools. And there was a good reason for that, because my family really believed in the values that the Jesuits taught and helped us experience. And I remember one of my teachers in 8th grade, his name was Father Shark. He later on became my principal. And Father Shark was teaching us catechism. Now, do you remember catechism classes in Catholic schools? Kind of boring, right? You learn all the prayers. And he didn't teach it to us this way. He used to teach us about social justice and about making a difference to the world. And I remember one experiment very clearly. We had to dress up in our full school uniforms, complete with our blazers and ties, and walk into a 5-star hotel, 8th graders, and see how we were treated. And then we had to go out and take someone from the street, usually he used to call him Dondiba, a poor Indian guy with a dhoti, not formal, and walk in with him and see how he was treated. And that lesson was absolutely searing because without fail, he was treated very, very differently and often almost hounded out. And he said, if you really learn your catechism, you will never forget this, and you will always fight for right so that each one can be treated just like you and have the same chances as you. And I think that's one of the lessons I remember better than anything else across whatever my 20-odd years of education. And so I really think, Father Ron often quotes Father Adolfo Nicholas, is that right, when he says, about Jesuit education, and I'm sure I'm paraphrasing it all wrong, it's not just about educating the best people in the world, which you are, but the best people for the world. And too often, I see we talk about leadership, and we talk about management, and we talk about business, but too much is in our heads. There is no leadership in our heads. The only leadership that exists is in action. And I think you and me and all of us here are called to make that difference. And I believe this. You have the tools to make the difference. You have the legitimacy, because Georgetown and Asade's names ring out clear in countries throughout the world. I've been there. I've taken advantage of that. I've used it to get free upgrades on flights. You have the network to tap into. Tens of thousands of alumni across over 100 countries. And just as important, I think you have the confidence to know that you can and will, and therefore must, make a difference in this world. And we hope we can be there to help you. I believe this, your degree will open new doors, new possibilities that you can't even imagine possible. My association with Georgetown has opened all sorts of possibilities, and I'm unworthy of them. But rather than feel bad and say, why do I have this and other people don't? It's my duty and yours to use that to try to make a difference. You will in many cases travel to new areas. You're going to learn things that we cannot even imagine. And you're going to do things that we're going to be proud of even though we don't know about them. So we hope you realize this. Really, who is Georgetown? Who is Asade? What is it? It's beautiful buildings, it's nice programs, it's trees, everything else, faculty, staff. But more than anything else, it's the alumni who go out into the world and define us by what you do and what you say and how you do it. And so we know you're going to define us well. And finally, we'll miss you. So wherever life takes you, we hope you'll come home. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to die over here. Come home, how? By hiring your colleagues, giving them opportunities. Come home for referrals, for contacts, advice if we can give it. Come home to share your expertise as teachers, as guest lecturers, as influencers, to help us improve programs, to get over some of our challenges. Come home to meet your colleagues, old and new, There'll be future generations of GEMBAs. Come home to enrich who we are and what we are together. Or just come home to say hello. Come home. We'll be waiting. We'll keep the lights on. For remember this, you are Hoyas. You are a part of ESADE and Georgetown, now and forever. And this is a huge reason to celebrate. Thank you.
It is my pleasure now to introduce ESADE's Director General, Dr. Eugenia Vieto, who will share her remarks with the class.
Thank you, Pedro. Let me start by congratulating you, the 32 participants, graduates of the GEMBA 7, from 17 nationalities, different nationalities, that makes for sure maybe the most global group of the GEMBAs. This ceremony is your party. This is your celebration. And I feel especially happy to have come from Spain yesterday just to share it with you. Because for ESADE, this program is really important. This partnership with Georgetown is really important. And in fact, if we are here today because over 7 years ago, ESADE and Georgetown decided to take their partnership a step forward and design a program representing the essence of our universities. That is, a commitment to diversity and excellence, a set of shared values, and the willingness to improve society at large. We wanted also our program to attract the best candidates. That your class is an example of this is proved not only by your excellent professional profiles, but also by your tenacity during these long months of intensive work. You have given the best of yourselves and created a great sense of group unity. I also know that you have launched a social initiative in Colombia. We feel really very proud of you. Congratulations. Thank you for having chosen us among all the possible options you had. We hope that our GEMBA will prove to be a significant building block in your careers and a transforming learning experience that can influence the shaping of your professional and personal project. Let me share now some reflections about the context in which we live. Because on top of your responsibilities as managers or entrepreneurs, we are citizens of the world. And today's world challenges our political, economic, and social leaders to interpret the global context with a new perspective, because today's concerns have changed and require urgent collective actions and commitments. I am thinking on items highlighted by the World Economic Forum in the last annual meeting, such as growing economic and social inequality, geopolitical conflicts, and environmental issues. As managers and leaders, none of us can turn our back on these problems. Firstly, because in our globally connected society, the butterfly effect of any action or decision taken anywhere has a far-reaching impact. And secondly, because the 21st century leadership can no longer be understood without significant social commitment and a strong determination to construct a more prosperous and fair society. You can be these leaders that transform organizations, companies, and society. You can be the change makers that the world is waiting for. Before finishing, I want to thank Paul Almeida, Pedro Parada, and Mark Bush for their dedication to the program and also their passion year after year in improving the academic experience. Also the professors, who, as Pedro was mentioning just some minutes ago, the professors who participate in the different modules, I know they always seek better and more innovative ways to transmitting their knowledge. And the staff, without their dedication, the academic effort cannot be transferred to reality. And last but not least, our congratulations and thanks to the class delegates, David Gozal and Thomas Leclerc, for their proactive commitment to continually improving the program. Our gratitude to them all. Today, we take leave of the students that you were and welcome you to the great Georgetown and ESADE alumni network. We want you to feel part of this large family and to know that also in Spain, in Barcelona, and in Madrid, you will always have a place to return to. And there, you will always be part of our community. You know, ESADE was founded 56 years ago. Georgetown more than 200 years ago. But both by the initiative of the Society of Jesus. But the dream was the same, to be schools for training future leaders and excellent professionals with a clear sense of ethics and social responsibility. The objective was, and Paul was mentioning it, to be not the best schools in the world, but the best schools for the world. This is something very common to all the Jesuit business schools, and I think that it is in our spirit. Today, I feel proud and happy because I think that the dream of our founders, the founders of Georgetown and the founders of ESADE, is becoming reality in you. Congratulations, thank you, and enjoy the rest of the ceremony.
Thank you, Director Bieto, for sharing your thoughts with us today. I am George Liebensfeld, Director of Academic Affairs for Executive Degree Programs at the McDonough School of Business. We will now call forward our 2015 candidates for the degree of Masters of Business Administration. Will Professor Almeida take his place, and will Professors Parada and Bush please come forward to hood the candidates. I will now call forth the individual students. Will the first row please come forward? And please hold your applause until all the students have returned to their seats. Vinicius Agostini. Roberto Alaman. David Anderson. Tanvir Aziz. Jani Bek. David Benning. Amy Blackman. Charles Busick. Mitchell Dobbins. Dimash Datsanov. David Gozal. Alejandra Gutierrez. Sunil Hiranandani. Alejandro Jimenez. Walid Khan. Andrei Kostyuk. Paul Lanzon. Thomas Leclerc. Amitabha Majumdar. Mary Machada Chanel. Alberto Martinez. Brian Metzger. Mitsuru Moriwaki. Brian Newsom. Alberto Pinheiro. Oleg Podobny. Hamdi Fayez Salhoub. Christopher Smith. Philippe Stiernan. Amy Lee Tate. Daniel Villanueva. Rachel Lindsay Wolf. Dean Almeida, as Director of Academic Affairs for Executive Programs in the McDonough School of Business at Georgetown University, and on behalf of our colleagues at ASADE, I have the honor to present to you the aforementioned candidates for the degree of Master of Business Administration. When these candidates have been duly examined and recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Directors, I ask that you bestow on these students the degree in course. Will the candidates please rise?
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Congress of the United States and by the President and Board of Directors of Georgetown University, I officially confer upon the recommended candidates the degree of Master of Business Administration. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to present to you the 2015 class of Georgetown University ASADE Global Executive MBA program. Congratulations. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the class of 2015, please extend a heartfelt thanks to a group of people who have worked very hard during the past 14 months in supporting you. Would the parents, spouses, children, families, and friends of the members of the class of 2015 please rise and be recognized. And finally, I'd like you to recognize my wonderful colleagues of the faculty and staff of the GEMBA program, both from Spain and Washington, D.C. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us this afternoon, and congratulations to our new students and alum. We wish you all well in the future and all the endeavors. Please make sure you come back, and come back often, as Paul mentioned. I'd like to finally congratulate you and welcome you to the ASADE Georgetown alumni community. Please rise as Father Anton offers our benediction.
Good and gracious God, we ask your blessing upon each and every member of the Georgetown ASADE Global Executive MBA. Gracious God, grant them courage. Courage to continue to support and care for one another as they have done these past many months, and to live in solidarity with all peoples, especially the poor and defenseless. Courage to make a difference in their homes, workplace, and world, never tiring of working for a more just world. Courage to love all whom you bring into their lives with the merciful and luxurious love of God. Help them to imagine the leaders they can be, leaders who seek and find how to serve, leaders who know that the true purpose of wealth is reckless generosity, and the purpose of the talents and skills they have learned is to create a world of kindness and justice. Leaders who bring the creation you began to fulfillment, and your kingdom a reality here on earth as it is in heaven. Amen.
Will our guests please remain seated in your places until our faculty and students have recessed? We ask that all members of the graduating class proceed directly to the stairs outside of the Hariri building for a class photo, while the members of the platform party and our guests can proceed to Fisher Colloquium on the 4th floor of this building for a celebratory reception. Family and friends, you should follow the academic procession. The 2015 commencement ceremony is officially closed.